Hey, friends. It's been quite a while since we looked at a Western, so I dug this one up for you. One that stars the Gipper himself, Ronald Reagan. This time we're talking about Law and Order from 1953. Our story goes like this. Lawman Ronnie has just got the Durango kid and brings him in for trial. He and his brothers have just finished cleaning up the town, and Ronnie wants to marry this sexy chick who runs a saloon. Can't say I blame him. But she wants him to give up lawmanning. So Ronnie turns in his badge, and his two brothers, plus a comedic mortician who tags along, they head over to another town where Ronnie has bought a ranch in order to get things ready for the new Mrs. Ronnie. But this town is run by bad guys named Durling, including this one-handed bandit man who's the big boss. He has a grudge against Ronnie because he lost a paw in a shootout with him. Now the town elders want Ronnie to step in and start cleaning up their town, but he refuses. He's hanging up his guns and wants to stay out of trouble. His brother isn't so smart and decides to become the town marshal. That doesn't work out so good. Meanwhile, the youngest brother, the professor here, is a hothead and is on the prod. He starts making time with a chick he meets, who, as it turns out, is one of the Durlings. That leads to gunplay. In the end, Ronnie has no choice. He becomes marshal and starts hurling jelly beans at the baddies. Only these jelly beans are made out of lead. Can Ronnie clean up the town and beat the black-hatted baddies? Will his chick still want to marry him if he's a lawman? And will the professor win his girl? In our cast, we have the Gipper, of course, Ronald Reagan. Fortunately for the townspeople, Reagan is only interested in handling the law and not the town's treasury. Reaganomics. Ugh, we're still dealing with that crap. He's alright in this, quite serviceable. We also have Dorothy Malone as our love interest Jeannie. She was in lots of stuff, but you may know her best from the small part which earned her cinematic immortality. That of the Acme bookshop owner in The Big Sleep. She doesn't have too much to do in this one, though. The Durango Kid was played by Wally Castle. He was in White Heat, Quicksand, and Sands of Iwo Jima. His character is the sort who you think would become an ally of the hero, given the banter and mutual admiration he and Ronnie seem to have for each other. But that doesn't happen. He's locked up, and that's the last we see of him, which is a missed opportunity if you ask me. I liked his character here, and he needed more screen time. We also have Chubby Johnson as the comedic sidekick mortician, Denver Calhoun, another very famous face. He was in a lot of things in his career, pretty much sticking to westerns on the big screen and the small. Dennis Weaver plays one of the bad guys, Frank Durling. Law and Order was only his 6th film, but you can see his star qualities emerging here. Preston Foster is our villain. Again, a very serviceable performance. And then we have the Professor, Russell Johnson from Gilligan's Island, as the hot-headed youngest brother. The Durling girl that he goes for was played by Ruth Hampton. Hampton was Miss New Jersey in 1952, and her movie career was pretty short. Arguably, her most famous turn was in Abbott and Costello Go to Mars. If you haven't guessed already, Law and Order is a riff on the story of Wyatt Earp and his lawman brothers, and was based on a novel, St. Johnson, written by William R. Burnett. This guy contributed to several iconic Hollywood movies, since many of his short stories and novels were adapted for the screen, and he also wrote screenplays himself. Burnett's work was the origin of movies like Scarface, Little Caesar, King of the Underworld, High Sierra, Dark Command, This Gun for Hire, Crash Dive, Illegal, San Antonio, Captain Lightfoot, The Asphalt Jungle, and Wake Island. And that's only some of them. St. Johnson was adapted several times, first in 1932. In this version, starring Walter Houston and Western legend Harry Carey. This also sports a turn by a very young Andy Devine. And this guy, Russell Simpson, who plays the town judge, a very familiar face. Simpson was in lots of stuff, including The Grapes of Wrath, 7 Brides for 7 Brothers, My Darling Clementine, Joan of Arc, Friendly Persuasion, and Tall in the Saddle, which I've reviewed elsewhere on the channel. Now, this 1932 version is pretty good. A bit dry by today's standards, but alright. And while similar, it's practically a different movie from the 1953 one. Houston gives a speech toward the end to the townspeople, somewhat reminiscent of the one Clint Eastwood delivers in Unforgiven. Kinda. Reagan doesn't do that in the 1953 one, though. The 1932 one is also more explicitly the story of the Earps and the shootout at the OK Corral. In 1937, Burnett's novel was redone again in movie serial format as Wild West Days, starring Johnny Mac Brown. Russell Simpson's also in that one. This serial was chopped down into a condensed movie version, also called Law and Order, in 1940. So, in the 1953 version, Ronald Reagan and Preston Foster are serviceable. Dorothy Malone is there. Chubby Johnson and Dennis Weaver are good. As for the professor, well, the romance with the Durling girl, it doesn't work for me. It seems kind of stock Romeo and Juliet type of stuff that got tacked on. Like, she meets the guy once and he chases her down with his horse. Like, that's romantic. And then he meets her a second time and they just jump right into kissy-face love. And she's gonna run away with this total stranger after meeting him twice? Strains credulity. But it does indicate that the professor likes brunettes, which means he'd probably go for Mary Ann. And he's not wrong. See, everybody thinks they want to get with Ginger, right? Because she's so smoking hot. But remember, Ginger was a movie star, and she was all self-centered and all about herself. She'd be real high maintenance, too, so a normal fella wouldn't have much of a chance with Ginger. Besides, who else is on that island? That's right, this guy, Thurston Howell III. And a chick like Ginger, she's all about the money, so you know Thurston Howell was tagging that. But Mary Ann? Mary Ann was a farm girl from Kansas, the girl next door type, down to earth, cute as a button. And she's the one who made the banana cream pies, so you know she can cook too. So while Ginger might be great for one night, Mary Ann, she's the one you want to take home to mother. She's the golden ticket. So the professor might go for Mary Ann. But if I were stranded on Gilligan's Isle and the professor tried to get with Mary Ann, there'd be one less castaway on that island, let me tell you. So what about this movie, anyway? Well, I don't know. This is what I'd call a Sunday afternoon ho-hummer. The kind of thing that came on TV Sunday afternoons, and you watched it because nothing else was on. It's not terrible, and Ronnie gets into a big fight scene at the end with the bad guy that's actually pretty spectacular. There's a bunch of stunt work in it, but otherwise it's fairly run-of-the-mill. Shout Factory has put out this really nice Blu-ray that's worth picking up if you like Ronnie, or if you like westerns, but otherwise, the movie's nothing to write home about, really. So I'm giving Law and Order 2 paws up. You take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.